forward to hearing what these students have to share with us. Thank you very much. Why don't you lead things off?
Good evening. I'm going to just give you a little summary of my league experience.
Good evening. Last week, I was one of the happiest students on campus. I had just finished my finals, including business policy, which is the hardest class in the business department. This class requires 3 hard presentations that have taken up most of my time this semester. To give you guys an idea of how stressful this class was, I have a friend that actually is graduating today that took it this summer. She worked on that class 24/7 for almost 4 weeks. She was 8 months pregnant when she was taking the class. So actually, when she was delivering the baby, she started screaming out the teacher name out loud. And she doesn't even remember. Her husband told me. That was pretty funny. So last Thursday, as I was walking to my car, I got a call from Dr. Khan's office telling me that I had been chosen to give a speech tonight. I had already enough problems talking in front of my classroom, so I immediately say, "Thank you very much. It's a great honor, but no, thank you." So I was told, "No problem. We understand. But Dr. Khan would still like you to come by and see him before you leave." After that, some people told me, "He's going to talk you into, man. You got nothing to do." And I was like, "I can handle him. I just say no thanks, and that's it." Well, if there's anybody here that could say no to Dr. Khan straight in his face, I would like to meet him, because if Richard DeVos or Mr. Bannon couldn't, how could I? So here I am, and I'm actually very happy to be here tonight. When I was 19 years old, I made one of the most important decisions in my life. I had an offer to move to Ecuador to teach and play tennis for 3 months. I had a good life at home, playing tennis, hanging out with my friends, and traveling every once in a while. And now I was given 3 days to make the decision whether or not to leave my country. My grandmother, who has been a very important part of my life, encouraged me to do it. So I ended up moving to Quito, Ecuador, where I stayed for over a year. During the tennis tournament, I met Roberto Sanchez. Roberto was a lead tennis player who was on summer break. That's how I first heard about him. So in a matter of 3 months, I took as many English classes as possible, got all the paperwork done, quit my job, went back to Chile, got my visa, and came here in the spring of 2002. When I first got here, I really didn't know what to expect. I had heard Cleveland was going to be a very different place from what I was used to. Starting from the southern accent that took me months to actually understand a word, to a huge number of churches within this area. My uncle had told me once that this area was called the Bible Belt, and I could really see why. Coming from a half-Jewish Catholic converted to Anglicanism family, I know it sounds weird, I figured I wouldn't have problems adjusting to that. So during my freshman year, my roommate and I went to look for churches. We decided to go and check out a different church every week. Well, it's been 4 years, and I don't think we're halfway through yet. But I must admit, after my first day of class, I came back to my dorm thinking I wasn't going to make it. I didn't speak English very well, so I couldn't understand a word in all those classes that day. That's when I discovered the quality of people that Lee has. From the cafeteria lady, to teachers, to random students I would meet in the hall, I would always find somebody offering me help with errands, giving me rides to Walmart, and even writing that paper for me for a small fee. Seriously, the help and relationship I developed with teachers, students, and even employees is what made me appreciate Lee much more. Tennis was definitely the best experience during my period of Lee. The trips we took and the team spirit we developed were awesome, not to mention the nice hotels, restaurants, and places we went. To have the chance to play an individual sport like tennis as a team was great, especially as the program has been developing in the last few years. We were able to break some small records in the beginning, but that they were very meaningful to us, like Lee's first winning record, our first time in regionals and our coach's 100th win. We also have some larger ones like being ranked top 11 in the nation for the first time, going to nationals twice, and I don't know, I just really enjoy being part of that team. It has been wonderful to be part of the growth of this program. Another of my unforgettable experiences at Lee is what we call Greek life. 3 semesters ago, I joined Pi Kappa Pi, which is one of the fraternities on campus. When I first got in, I had no idea what I was getting myself into or what induction was about. So a friend of mine talked me into rushing and I just went with the flow. My mom was visiting during that time and she went with me to tap night. I was wearing my nicest clothes and I still remember like getting tapped and walking through the bed mall without being allowed to even flinch. While my mom was trying to take pictures of me, trying to get me to smile. So I couldn't really tell her to move away, so it was very frustrating. She thought I was getting into some kind of cult or something, you know? So she got pretty worried. And that weekend was definitely the hardest experience of my life. But what it got for me makes it up completely. Having a group of brothers who will always be there for me is a great feeling. And it's more than just playing intramurals together or wearing a jersey. It's also about serving the community, growing spiritually, and developing relationships that are going to last forever. Thanks a lot. Bye. And to finish, I want to give thanks to God, who through his mysterious way brought me here today. To Dr. Khan, not only for giving me the opportunity to speak here tonight, but also for being a good fan of tennis, which keeps the program going. Thanks also to the faculty, they've been very great to me, and to my coach, Tony Cavett, which is here today, for teaching me so much and supporting me. Actually, it's very hard to find a coach in such a competitive environment, in such a competitive sport that actually cares more about the person than the player, and actually Tony has that quality. Thanks also to my thanks also to Chris Campbell, who is graduating today. He's been my roommate for 4 years, and we all know how hard it is to get a roommate that lasts 4 years during college. And finally to my family, especially to my grandmother, who, due to the cancer, couldn't make it here today. Without her support and encouragement, I wouldn't have made it today. And this is something I'm going to say in Spanish because my family couldn't make it today, so probably they'll see it on TV. Papá, mamá y mi familia, los quiero mucho. Gracias por el apoyo incondicional todos estos años y espero verlos pronto en Chile. Un abrazo y quiero mucho. Thank you guys and God bless.
Yeah, you did a good job. Much more fluid than I was thinking.
A large portion of my story includes how and when